To study human history, archaeologists face great challenges. However, there are times when artifacts are found by pure chance. These archaeological finds confirm that we still don't know much about the ancient world. The mysterious wooden man, the invasion of witches and vampires, the first biological weapon, books made from humans, and much more. These archaeological discoveries will stay with you for a long time. And if you feel that spark of intrigue and passion for discovering amazing things, subscribe to our channel. It's free and will take you on endless, fascinating adventures that will transform your perception of the world. We start with number 1, the oldest hairstyle. The oldest hairstyle is a surprising find, a preserved hairstyle approximately 3,300 years old, discovered on the head of an ancient Egyptian. The intricately interwoven braids impress with their complexity and excellent state of preservation. In ancient Egypt, hairstyles were of great importance and were often used to express status, age, and social standing. Hair care included the use of oils and aromatic products, which also contributed to its durability. Preserved details, such as the braids, allow scientists to better understand how important appearance was to the ancient Egyptians and the skill required to create these hairstyles. Number 2. Something unexpected at the bottom of the sea. Off the coast of Sicily, workers noticed something unusual sticking out of the seabed, leading to a rare archaeological discovery. In January 2022, near the Vendicari Reserve, at a depth of about 70 meters, the remains of an ancient shipwreck were found. When the team of marine archaeologists dove to the site, they found more than 100 rare Roman amphorae, many of which were preserved in their original position, as if they had just been loaded onto the ship. These amphorae, estimated to be between 1,900 and 2,100 years old, represent a unique type of pottery known as Richborough 527. This type of amphora, with wide throats, a spiral design, and a pointed bottom, was first found in Richborough, England, and later found in Lipari, Italy. Scientists believe these amphorae were used to transport alum, a mineral mined in Lipari. Number 3. Shiny glass beads. Archaeologists studying the Bronze Age in northern Italy found thousands of glass beads at the ancient settlement of Fratesina that are more than 3,000 years old. These brilliant artifacts shed light on the earliest art of glassmaking in Europe. The archaeological team discovered a Bronze Age clay kiln surrounded by tools and remains of glass products, a structure unparalleled in Europe from that period. Among the finds are numerous multicolored beads that have retained their vibrant colors, from blue to red, from white to black, with swirling and speckled patterns. Even after millennia, their colors remain bright, as if fresh from the kiln. The durability of the color is explained by the unique recipe of the local glass, made from sand from the Po River, which gave the products great longevity. Number 4. The invasion of witches and vampires. In the 1950s, rumors spread in the Philippines about an invasion by aswangs, evil beings from Philippine folklore, similar to vampires and witches. These mythical creatures supposedly attacked people, causing a wave of fear among the population. However, these rumors were not folklore, but a carefully planned operation by the CIA. To suppress the Filipino insurgents, American agents decided to take advantage of the superstitions of the local inhabitants. The CIA kidnapped locals or insurgents, killed them in gruesome ways, and left the bodies exposed to cause panic. They then spread rumors that these were aswang attacks. This tactic exploited people's beliefs, leading to a decline in support for the insurgents among the local population. It was psychological warfare aimed at breaking people's fighting spirit without resorting to open combat. Number 5. The first biological weapons scientists have confirmed a shocking story about a biological weapon used 800 years ago in Norway. During excavations at the ruins of Svartholf Castle, archaeologists found the remains of a man thrown into a well to poison the water amid a medieval Norwegian civil war. This story is described in the Scandinavian chronicle Sverre's Saga, but many historians doubted its authenticity. According to the saga, during the Siege of Svartalf, a group supporting the archbishop, known as the Birkebeiners, unable to find King Sverre, decided to use a corpse as a means to poison the water. To confirm this, a team of scientists performed a DNA analysis of the remains found at the bottom of the well. As early as 1938, archaeologists had found the well-preserved remains of a man at a depth of 6 meters, but further investigations were interrupted due to World War II. It wasn't until 2016 that scientists were able to conduct further excavations, which revealed that the man in the pit was between 30 and 40 years old and had a skull fracture, possibly the cause of his death. No clothing was found around the pit, except for a preserved leather boot. Number 6. The Amber Cup. The Amber Cup is a magnificent piece of amber, approximately 3,270 years old, found in a large circular barrow in Hoventude. Associated with the sun and life energy, it was used in ancient times not only for adornment, but also for ritual purposes. According to researchers, the cup could have been a high-status object belonging to an important member of society or a leader. Creating such a cup required exceptional skills, as amber is a fragile material and working with it requires patience and dexterity. The cup found indicates that people at that time had access to rare and valuable materials, which also confirms the existence of trade networks and exchanges with other regions. Number 7. The tunic of Alexander the Great. Archaeologists have found a fragment of rare purple fabric in a tomb at Vergina, possibly part of Alexander the Great's tunic and symbolizing his power. The fabric was in a golden crypt alongside the remains of a man buried with a golden crown. The fabric fragment is a rare cotton from the period, dyed with Tyrian purple, an expensive dye associated with royal power. Purple garments were traditionally worn by Persian kings, and Alexander adopted this practice after defeating Darius III, underscoring his divine status. Some historians believe that the tomb contains the remains of Philip the Skingu, Alexander's father. Others suggest that the artifacts may have belonged to Alexander himself, or to his brother Philip III Arhidius, who inherited the royal regalia. Among other artifacts found are a golden diadem, a scepter, and a crown with oak leaves, details often found in historical accounts. Number 8. The Amethyst Vessel. This magnificent amethyst vessel dates from around the 7th century BC and belongs to the Neo-Assyrian period. Found in a private collection, it is a striking example of the skill of ancient craftsmen working with semi-precious stones. Amethyst was highly valued for its rarity and beauty. Its deep violet color was associated with luxury and was considered a symbol of power and spirituality. Amethyst pieces from that period were created with great effort, as working this hard material required a high level of skill and special tools. This vessel was likely part of a ritual inventory, or used to store valuables, such as incense or oils. Its fine polish and proportional shape indicate that it was intended for noble owners, such as royal families or high officials. Number 9. The Stone Sarcophagus. In Italy, archaeologists have discovered a 2500-year-old intact sarcophagus that had been hidden underground near volcanic Lake Bolsena. During excavations at the ancient Etruscan settlement of Bisenzio, on the shores of the lake, they found several tombs dating back to between 700 and 400 BC. To scientists' surprise, none of the graves had been looted, which is unusual for such an ancient object. Of particular interest was a simple stone sarcophagus that had preserved its contents in their original state. With the help of an excavator, archaeologists lifted the heavy lid and found an almost completely preserved skeleton inside. Next to the remains was a small clay container, which experts say could symbolize personal belongings or an offering for the deceased. Number 10. The Cursed Emeralds. These emeralds, which are called cursed, have become one of the most tragic finds in the history of treasure hunting. They were discovered by J. Miskovich, a man who dedicated his life to searching for ancient treasures. In 2010, off the coast of Florida, he managed to find a deposit of emeralds valued at several $1,000,000. At first glance, it was a stroke of luck that could change his life for the better. However, the find soon attracted the attention not only of the media, but also of federal agencies, including the FBI. Litigation and investigations began to determine the origin of the precious stones. Complicated legal battles and public pressure turned Miskovich's life into a nightmare. Constant accusations and pressure from the authorities made his existence unbearable, and he eventually committed suicide. This tragedy became the basis for the legend of the cursed emeralds, which brought their owner not wealth and success, but pain and suffering. Number 11. The Tomb in the Rock. In Malta, builders accidentally discovered an ancient tomb some 2,300 years old in September, while installing new water lines near a hospital in the town of Birkirkara. Workers found a rock-cut chamber, which archaeologists later confirmed was a Punic tomb. During subsequent excavations, they uncovered the tomb's central shaft and 3 side chambers, the entrances to which were sealed with original stone slabs. Through the narrow slits, archaeologists saw skeletons and artifacts. Inside the chambers, they found bones arranged in a specific order, as well as urns containing ashes. The bones were likely moved to make room for new burials. In total, at least 14 burials were found in the 3 chambers. The remains have already been transferred to a laboratory for further analysis. Archaeologists plan to perform radiocarbon dating and DNA analysis to learn more about the Punic community that created this tomb. Number 12. The Skeleton of Different Eras. In Belgium, archaeologists have found an unusual skeleton composed of the bones of 5 people who lived several thousand years apart. The remains were discovered in a Roman-era cremation cemetery in Pomereux, near the French border. It turned out that this strange individual predated the Roman period by 2,500 years. Furthermore, radiocarbon analysis showed that the bones belong to the Neolithic period, that is, to the period between 7,000 and 2,000 BC. Excavations of this cemetery began in the 1970s, and among the 76 cremation burials, scientists found an unusual burial, a skeleton in a fetal position. According to initial assumptions, it was Roman, since next to the skull was a Roman-type bone brooch. However, a detailed analysis in 2019 led to unexpected conclusions. The skeleton was composed of bones from different people, and the brooch dates back to approximately 9,210 BC. Number 13. Books made of people. Between the 15th and 19th centuries, there was a shadowy practice of binding books with human skin. This rare and shocking phenomenon was called anthropodermic bibliophagy. Some copies of medical or philosophical treatises, as well as personal diaries, could be bound in the skin of deceased people, often in their memory. For example, some doctors used their patients' skin to bind medical texts, thus perpetuating their contribution to science. Books like these have captured a great deal of interest and study. Modern technologies, including DNA analysis and chemical tests, make it possible to determine whether the binding is indeed made of human skin. This phenomenon reflects not only the medical and scientific interests of the time, but also the attitude toward death, memory, and the body. Number 14. Guardian Statues of the Past. A joint team of Cambodian and Chinese archaeologists excavated the entrance to the royal palace built in the 10th century for the kings of the Khmer Empire. This palace is part of the Angkor Thom complex, which includes the famous Angkor Wat Temple. During the excavations, a joint team of Cambodian and Chinese archaeologists excavated the entrance to the royal palace built in the 10th century for the kings of the Khmer Empire. This palace is part of the Angkor Thom complex, which includes the famous Angkor Wat Temple. During the excavations, archaeologists discovered 12 ancient guardian statues made of sandstone. These figures, created around the 10th century, previously stood atop the palace gates. Each statue is unique in size and detail, standing at least 1 meter tall. Photographs show statues in the form of standing figures, some of which hold a staff in their right hand and are surrounded by exquisite decorative elements around their heads. The condition of the statues varies. Some are almost intact, while others are covered in cracks and worn by time. Number 15. They ruled even after death. The Inca had a unique relationship with their deceased rulers, considering them not just as deceased, but as continuous beings who were honored as living beings with their own lands and riches. Surprisingly, the properties of these mummies continued to be managed by their servants, and the mummies themselves participated in important rituals and even meetings. These rulers were believed to be able to give advice and influence the life of society, remaining the eternal masters of their lands. Over time, this led to difficulties, as large territories came under the control of the dead, making resource distribution and land management among the living difficult. Number 16. Necropolis with 95 crypts. Before you lies one of the most mysterious and unique places in the Caucasus, the Dargav's Necropolis, located in North Ossetia. This medieval architectural complex, also known as the City of the Dead, features 95 stone crypts, many of which are tower-shaped. The necropolis is located on the slope of a picturesque valley between majestic mountains, giving it a special atmosphere of mystery and tranquility. Dargavs holds special significance for local culture and history. It is believed that the crypts were built in the 15th and 16th centuries and were used as burial sites. Each family built a crypt where not only the bodies, but also the personal belongings of the deceased were buried, a rare custom in this region. Dargavs became a kind of family archive, where household objects and even bones were kept, helping historians better understand the life and customs of the ancient Ossetians. The necropolis is protected by UNESCO as a cultural heritage site and attracts tourists from all over the world. Locals even say that anyone who visits the City of the Dead may never return. Today, the necropolis is an important cultural attraction, commemorating the eternal connection between generations. Number 17. The Bronze Sword of Rock Crystal. This stunning bronze sword, inlaid with turquoise and gold trim dates from the Warring States period in China, spanning the 4th to 2nd centuries BC. It was a time when numerous kingdoms fought for dominance and influence, and the art of war reached a high level of perfection. This sword stands out not only for its military purpose, but also for its incredible craftsmanship. The hilt of the sword is made of rock crystal, giving it a special elegance and making it not just a weapon, but a work of art. The turquoise inlays add unique color accents, and the use of gold underlines the status of the owner, most likely a nobleman or a high-ranking warrior. Number 18. The Oldest Medicines. Recent discoveries at the Grotte des Pigeons cave in Tafaralt, Morocco, are changing our understanding of ancient medicine. Researchers discovered evidence of herbal medicine dating back 15,000 years. Of particular interest was ephedra, a plant used in traditional Chinese medicine to treat asthma, bronchitis, and colds. The research was based on the analysis of macrofossils from the oldest burial site in North Africa, where 34 skeletons of Mesolithic hunter-gatherers rest. Ephedra found in ritual burials has potent healing properties, including epinephrine and pseudoephedrine, which help with nasal congestion and stimulate the nervous system. Preserved ephedra fruits found in the cave indicate its use to relieve pain and stop bleeding during cranial trepanation, an operation performed 15,000 years ago and considered one of the oldest in the world. The cave is also known for its tooth extraction ritual, a painful ceremony marking the transition to adulthood. Ephedra likely helped relieve the pain and bleeding, demonstrating its importance in the cultural traditions of the ancient inhabitants. Number 19. The Stone Chain. Before you is the stone chain, a unique architectural detail of the Gaureshvara temple located in the city of Lakundi, India. The temple was built in the 15th century and is known for its intricate carvings. among which this chain carved from a single piece of stone stands out. Carving such a chain from a single monolith is an astonishing example of the skill of ancient Indian stonemasons, which still inspires admiration today. In Indian architecture, every temple element has its own meaning and serves a spiritual function. Elements like this could symbolize the connection between the earthly and the divine, or be an expression of strength and eternity. The Gaureshvara temple, dating from the Vijayanagar dynasty, is famous for its grandiose structures and attention to detail. Number 20. The Holy Water Incident. A curious incident occurred in India that could have happened anywhere, but is especially notable in a country with hundreds of gods and temples for every occasion. Devotees crowded around an elephant statue dripping with water, thinking it was sacred water from Krishna's feet. However, in reality, the water was simply condensation dripping from the air conditioning unit that cooled the temple. For people who had never seen air conditioning, this explanation wasn't enough. Believers continued to claim it was the same nectar from Krishna's lotus feet, which the temple priests collected every morning during the divine foot washing. The temple even had to issue an official statement to debunk the myth and warn people about the danger of drinking such water. The risk of such water lies in the fact that fungi and bacteria can grow in the air conditioning system and easily reach the droplets, potentially causing infections. It's worth noting that Indian stomachs are accustomed to harsh conditions. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to buy food at street markets. Number 21. The oldest artificial eye. Before you is the oldest known artificial eye, found in a woman's tomb in the ancient burned city of Shahre Sukte. This unique artifact is more than 4,800 years old. The prototype eye was a hemisphere made of a lightweight bitumen-based material. It was covered in gold and had grooves on its surface that mimicked a pupil, giving it a realistic appearance. The prototype was secured with two small holes through which a cord, similar to modern eye patches, passed, keeping it in place. The woman wore this eye during the day to hide her empty socket, and at night she carefully kept it in a small leather pouch found along with other funerary objects. Such a level of craftsmanship and attention to appearance astonishes even modern researchers. Number 22. The photograph of ancient fishing scientists have discovered the oldest images of fishing, found on slate plates at the Gunnersdorf archaeological site in western Germany. These images are approximately 15,800 years old and belong to the Magdalenian culture. The study of 4 to 6 previously found plates was conducted using modern visualization methods. The scientists determined that the fish drawings and net patterns on the plates represent a unique composition, showing the use of fishing nets. 11 fish images were identified on the plates, 8 of which are surrounded by nets. The figures were carved into the slate sections. The fish was drawn first, and then the net pattern was added. Number 23. The enigma of the stuffed swan. Archaeologists speculate that the felt swan figurine created in the Iron Age symbolized life. This artifact, known as the Pazyryk swan, was made of deer felt and stuffed with deer wool. The figurine belongs to the Pazyryk culture, associated with the nomadic peoples of the Saka group, who were considered the eastern branch of the Scythians. The swan's age is estimated at 2,400 years. It was found in the Pazyryk Valley in the Altai Mountains, near the borders of Russia, Kazakhstan, China, and Mongolia. The figurine is about 30 centimeters tall. The swan's body was made of white felt, the eyes and wingtips of black felt, and the legs of a reddish-brown material. To keep the swan upright, wooden sticks were inserted into its legs. It is thought that the figurine may have been placed on a cart or a tent-like structure that eventually collapsed. The swan likely symbolized life in 3 spheres: air, earth, and water. Researchers note that images of birds such as swans and ducks are common in the creation myths of ancient peoples. Excavations at Pazyryk began in the 1920s, but the swan figurine was only discovered in 1949. The unique preservation of this and other organic objects is explained by the local climate. Many burial mounds are located in permafrost zones, allowing the artifacts to be preserved virtually intact. Number 24. The Young Man's Tree from centuries ago. In Ireland, after a hurricane toppled an ancient beech tree, the skeleton of a young man who died in the Middle Ages was discovered nestled in its roots. Surprisingly, in 1800, the tree was accidentally planted right over the grave, and its roots grew through the remains, preserving important details that allowed scientists to study the young man's history. Analysis showed he was between 17 and 20 years old. Based on his diet, the young man ate well and likely belonged to a wealthy segment of society. However, the investigation also revealed a curvature in his spine, which could indicate hard physical labor in childhood. The cause of death was violent. 2 marks indicating stab wounds were found on his ribs. Number 25. World War II, Greece. For decades, after heavy storms, the sea has been washing up chunks of blubber on the coast of St. Cyrus, Scotland. These remains were found in the wreck of a ship during World War II. Recently, waves washed ashore 4 more chunks of blubber, each of which has retained the shape of the barrels in which it was likely stored all these years. These unusual relics became known to the locals after a merchant ship carrying blubber was sunk by bombs. It is believed that with each new storm, the sunken ship gradually releases some of its cargo, throwing blocks of blubber onto the shore. Locals are familiar with this phenomenon and claim that the blubber, despite the layer of shells covering it, has been well preserved and is fit for use. Number 26. Daniel Sickles' leg and his adventures. One of the most famous artifacts at the National Museum of Health and Medicine in Washington is the leg fragment of General Daniel Sickles, a soldier in the U.S. Civil War. This artifact attracts not only visitors, but also Sickles himself, who came to the museum to see his lost limb and impress his friends, including Mark Twain. Daniel Sickles was a controversial and scandalous figure. He was born in New York and had a successful career in law and politics. His life was filled with notorious events, including his marriage to Teresa Baggioli, who was half his age. Sickles made no secret of his love affairs, even going so far as to bring a prostitute to a state assembly session. A dramatic turn of events was his wife's infidelity with District Attorney Philip Barton Key. Upon learning of the affair, Sickles shot Key right in front of the White House. The trial became a sensation, and Sickles pleaded temporary insanity, the first time such a defense had been successfully used. In 1863, as a major general, Sickles participated in the Battle of Gettysburg, where, disobeying orders, he advanced his Army Corps. This decision led to heavy losses, and he himself lost a leg to a cannonball. The amputated limb was delivered to the museum in a special box and became one of the museum's main exhibits. Sickles not only did not abandon his career, but returned to politics. We've reached the end of the video. Do you think these fascinating archaeological discoveries could change our understanding of history in ways we're not considering, or have we missed their true significance? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more fascinating and exciting content. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.